In their final moments, even the most powerful fall silent. But sometimes, they leave us with words, fragments of emotion, regret, defiance, or faith. These are the famous last words of history's greatest leaders. Not myths, not legend. They're true human voices. Before everything faded, Julius Caesar, betrayed by the Senate and stabbed by men he once called allies, looked upon his friend Brutus and said, "Et tu, Brute," which is Latin and translates to, "You too, Brutus." Whether those were his exact words or not, they captured the sting of betrayal that ended an empire. Napoleon Bonaparte, once the Emperor of France, spent his final days exiled on the remote island of St. Helena. As his strength faded, he whispered, "France, the army, the head of the army." Josephine, holding on to memories of power and lost love. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, went to the theater for a quiet evening. Moments before the gunshot that would take his life, he turned to his wife and said, "They won't think anything of it." A mundane sentence that became the final words of a man who preserved a nation. Winston Churchill, the man who stood strong against Nazi Germany, spent his final days tired and withdrawn. His last words, "I'm bored with it all," showing perhaps that after a lifetime of war, even legends can grow weary. Joan of Arc, the young French heroine burned at the stake for heresy, never cried out in fear. As the flames consumed her, she called out, "Jesus, Jesus, Jesus," faithful to the very end. Karl Marx, known for writing thousands of pages on politics in class, had no patience for final words. When asked if he had any to share, he snapped, "Last words are for fools who haven't said enough," and died. Vladimir Lenin, the revolutionary leader of Soviet Russia, suffered strokes that left him speechless. But among his last known phrases, he reportedly said, "Good dog, strange, touching, and still debated." Alexander the Great, having conquered much of the known world, was asked who should succeed him. He replied simply, "To the strongest," and with that unleashed years of bloody power struggles. George Washington, America's first president, remained composed as he faced death. He said, "It is well. I die hard, but I am not afraid to go," proving that courage and dignity remained with him until the end. And Queen Elizabeth I, after 44 years on the throne, is believed to have said, "All my possessions for a moment of time, a powerful reflection from a monarch who had everything except immortality. Some died in glory, others in silence. But in those last breaths, we hear their fears, their hopes, and their truths. Their empires crumbled, their battles ended. But their words remain." Which last word stayed with you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more history brought to life.